This is 2 Minutes in Eternity, day 15 of 21 Days in a Row with Jim Driscoll. Um, I wanted to just briefly talk about our physical senses. Um, we talk about seeing through the mind's eye, hearing, hear things still quiet inner voice is what we are mainly listening for. Uh, Getting a sense of smell, taste, and touch, as well as hearing and sight. Um, from the spirit, yes, absolutely. But I will say this: your physical senses absolutely respond to the spirit. You can see with the mind's eye, but you can see with the physical eye. And I talked about this a couple days ago. Um, and I guess at some point I'll do a teaching on how to do that better. And we can hear, we can hear the it's still quiet voice, but we can sometimes we hear things audibly. And everybody who wants a cool revelation wants, I want to see things visually and want to hear things audibly. Which, when it's happening a lot, it comes with its own cost. But we'll set that aside. The senses most people ignore, as far as feeling, is the physical, like sense of touch, and sometimes smell. Sometimes discernment comes with smell. You walk to a place, you go someplace, something will be happening, and you'll smell a weird smell. Like, oh, it's weird. And sometimes it's discernment. It's not that there's something in the physical that smells, it's that there's something that smells bad to your discernment and it's manifesting spiritually to your physical nose. And you think you're smelling something in the physical and you can't figure out what it is. And sometimes it's spiritual. And so that happens. Same thing with you get a taste in your mouth sometimes. But what happens a lot actually is a physical sense of touch. The spirit moves and your fingers feel tingly. You'll feel warmth across your body, or you'll feel phantom pain. That's not uncommon for discerning, like a need for healing or the presence of healing. Um, like, oh, you'll feel an ache in your arm. You're like, oh, is anybody dealing with a pain in their arm? And someone's like, oh, I'm dealing with, something like, I don't know, whatever it is, a ligament or some type of bone cancer. And often there'll be a manifestation of healing. So I just want to say, um, yes, we're looking mainly for the still quiet, the inner. But the physical, yes, but not just the sight and the hearing. Touch is a big one that most people often get and often ignore. So that can happen in the setting. I don't know if it'll happen with me a lot. It happens for me in a public crowd, not so much when I do the 2 minutes in exercise, but we'll see. Um, anyway, Lord, open our senses. Lord, our sight, our hearing, our taste, our smell, and as I was just saying, open our touch um, to the availability of your kingdom, Lord, the kingdom of heaven, Lord, as you are and as you manifest and as you show up with eternity, Lord. So, still yourself the next 2 minutes and record, draw, write, do shorthand of stuff you get. Well, about 2 minutes. So if you haven't recorded your impressions from God as He is in eternity, i.e., from heaven, in the kingdom of heaven manifest here and now, pause and do it. All right. I was talking about touch, and I was feeling touch. I was feeling touch on my hands. It's like someone was holding my right hand, and then someone was holding my left hand at the same time. And then I felt something wrap itself around my shoulders, across my back, and squeeze. And then I felt some warmth in the back, left part of my neck. And then I felt the voice of the Lord in my ear. And I got 2 Chronicles 18:6. I can draw this badly, so I will. Because if I don't draw this badly, I'll never draw it well. um, okay, hopefully that's evocative. The Lord hugging me and speaking in my ear and saying, 2 Chronicles 18:6. Sorry. Which says this, but Jehoshaphat said, "Is there not a prophet of the Lord besides, that we might inquire of him?" And then the king of Israel goes on to say, yeah, there is, but he says I don't like, and they get him. But this to me is affirming. Reminds me of a night in Massachusetts, or was it New Hampshire, at a conference that John Paul was doing with Streams. I was on staff. They were doing a Sears conference. I was on staff, and I was not invited to go as part of staff, even though I was on full-time staff. I didn't live too far away. Everybody came to me with your questions. I went there. I paid for my way, even though I was on staff. But I spent most of my time in the prayer room because I just felt really rejected. And on the last night, the Spirit fell, and the speaker couldn't speak, and John Paul wanted to speak. He couldn't speak, and then the president of Streams went up, and he couldn't speak. And then finally the speaker said to John Paul, they were bound in their seats. Anybody who went up couldn't stand. They would all fall to the ground and laugh, and they couldn't talk. So finally the speaker in the seats, because no one could go up on the stage because they couldn't stand and they couldn't speak. Is there a prophet in the house? And John Paul stood up and pointed at me, and I got up and I ministered for a while. So I think the Lord was just affirming or reminding me with touch and his warmth and his voice. It was affirming me. Not so much like, well, okay, maybe he's doing it publicly. Maybe, but for me, that he trusts me to speak on his behalf when the need arises. And this all started with touch, the touching of my hands. I felt he was touching both my hands, then I felt he was hugging me, and then I felt his breath on my neck, and then I had a sense he was speaking in my ear, and then I heard 2 Chronicles 18:6, which I had to look up because I don't have that memorized. Well, Lord, I thank you that you are opening our senses. I pray you continue to invade our daily lives with the kingdom of heaven, that it would be a hand wherever we go, that eternity would be manifest. Lord, you, as you are in eternity, be manifest in our daily lives. But also when we set some time aside to seek. Well, thank you for joining me day 15. I look forward to spending time with day 16 with you.